the smashing pumpkins.
How did all things started? I mean, what we usually hear about Chicago is the blues scene.
Yeah. Well, there's been the music scene in Chicago was really dead about 5 or 6 years ago, and usually when it's dead, then bands start to want to do something. So now you have, Urge Overkill, Jesus Lizard, and
you have all the wax tracks, kind of dance stuff. That's very big too.
But it's not a thriving music scene at all.
Does it feel like Chicago has a strong alternative scene and it's getting stronger?
Yeah, I think its strength is in its diversity, and in a strange way, that's what people say about Chicago. That's what makes Chicago a great city is the diversity involved, and the bands. I mean, they're all different, and it's nice to see other people having success, but people have tried to pin it down into some kind of musical scene, and it's just really not.
Did you have an idea in mind musically when you started, what you wanted to do and what you didn't want to do?
More so like a theoretical idea than like a musical idea. Like I wanted to be open so that we could play whatever kind of music we wanted to play, so it wasn't like just rock or just whatever. Okay to play different types of music, that you don't have to be just a rock band, I mean, the great bands like Jefferson Airplane or Led Zeppelin, I mean, they played all styles of music, and that's how we want to be, because that way the band can grow and change, and doesn't, if you decide you don't want to be 100% rock band, you're not stuck. You don't have to break up the band and go form another band just to play another style of music.
But did it come naturally to have that particular sound, that particular Smashing Pumpkins sound, or did you have to work on it really, and do you have to stop sometimes and say, oh, we're going too far now?
Well, we went through a lot of different types of phases where our set kind of reflected different types of rock or different types of tangents we're on, but yeah, after a while we honed it down to what's on the album.
I mean, if it's anything, if you start with this, okay, let's play any type of music you want to play. I mean, it's going to take you a while to kind of go. It took a while, but I mean, it was natural in the sense that every time we'd start to go down a road that we were uncomfortable with, we'd know that it was wrong.
Is it easier now for an alternative band to make it in the States?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. The major record companies are looking for that now, paying the big bucks, for those types of bands.
They're looking for alternative bands that will sell well and also give them credibility, basically.
You're good for record companies.
Yeah, I guess we're
I don't
good
think
for
they
a record
really
company.
care about the credibility. They never cared about that before, but sell them records. Yeah,
Money.
Definitely.
What do you see as the trends for the future where music is concerned?
Hopefully music of the 90s will be a little bit more honest than it was in the previous 2 decades. I mean, 80s music and even 70s music was very trend-oriented.
Right.
Hopefully the 90s music will be a little bit more reflective of individual personality as opposed to what people are wearing, I mean, that's what I'd like to see anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what we're about.
Is there any statement behind your lyrics?
We don't have any political statements.
The statement is individualistic. It's think for yourself and be yourself. If anything, if anybody wants to draw anything, that's what I would draw from it.
Still just a rat How do you stay real?
You just have to kind of keep remembering what's right about why you're in the band in the first place. And, you know, it's not about doing beer commercials. It's not about imitating other bands. It's not about making videos like everybody else. It's not about any of those things. It's about carving out your own niche, and I see everybody lining up to stick their fingers in the same pie.
So does being authentic to a certain degree involve risk?
Absolutely, absolutely, and there is the insidious part of it, because we know, as you know, as conscious human beings, that we basically stick to some kind of formulaic thing that we even helped create, that we will benefit from it.
Of the double CD, Melancholy, Infinite Sadness, did you start off with conceptually going, we want to put out a double CD, or did you just have so much stuff that it fit onto two CDs?
Both. No, it was a double CD from before the songs were even written.
So the idea
we made up our minds, because we're so sick of everyone doing these extremely calculated, you know, rock moves, and this is how you do your videos, and this is how you do your albums, and this is how you are as a band, and this is what you say. So it's just a total reaction against the way that everything is, and we just wanted to provide as much music as we could for the least amount of money, and
the least amount of money, like as far as what you pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, the album roughly costs like 1.5 times a normal album instead of 2 albums put together. You know, we took less money and worked harder to make something that we cared about. And our whole thing has always been, if we care about it, we hope that other people would too. And so, you know, we're just trying to remove ourselves out of the typical rock game circa 1995 or 6 or whatever.
And you can call the shots now at this point in your career, or have you always done
Well,
so?
yeah, you can call the shots as long as you sell records. I mean, the moment we stop selling records, I don't think anyone would be too supportive of the double CD.
Do you want to do the first spanking the monkey joke? No.
Are we live? Is this really going on? Are you really making these corny jokes?
Okay, no spanking the monkey jokes, we promise.
Drink it down, Alice girl. Drink it with the squirrels.
This is great. This is like the Rolls Royce of camels.
How old are these koalas?
These two are 2.5 years old. And they're both males. They'll be maturing between 3 and 4 years of age.
So they're not full grown?
Not quite.
No.
So if we went in there, what are our chances of getting out alive?
Not much.
Can you tell us what these are?
These are the naked mole rats.
They are pretty cute.
We've been hearing
They're very cute.
We've been hearing there's 2 big attractions here at the zoo. These things and the koalas, but
I'm a little partial myself. I like these guys. They're pretty lazy right now. Usually they're very active.
It's like a Pumpkins concert.
Yeah, not much hair. No. But yeah.
I didn't think about that.
yeah, except they're well behaved. Okay, if I write songs, you know, I'm as much of an artist as somebody who paints a picture, and I choose to express in those things whatever I want to express. Nobody questions an artist's emotional attitude in a painting or in a picture, but somehow musically we have to dissect where it comes from. So I've just ceased talking about those things in public because it seems to cheapen them or something. And I'm not going to cheapen what's real, because everybody I know feels the things that we're singing about. So, you know, until I find somebody who doesn't feel those things, then it will not be invalid. But the media makes these things invalid and blows them up into, you know, like I'm the tortured idiot child, you know, who doesn't know any better, you know. And I'm not the tortured idiot child. I'm a pretty normal human being. I just happen to be able to express things very intensely, you know. That's it. It's not any more sophisticated than that.
Well, I think what's interesting about us as a band is we've approached it from 2 angles. On one hand, we've tried to assimilate an extreme dynamic to the point that we can overwhelm someone's senses so that we can bombard past the bombardment. On the other hand, we're dealing in such immense emotional material that it's almost very difficult for most people to deal with, because no one wants a mirror held up to their face. And this is why we see a lot of attention and interest paid in the Madonnas of the world, because we're looking for escapism. We're looking for a fantasy version of what is. We're not looking for reality. And the thing that makes us somewhat of a musical anomaly is we can cut through that static. And the way that we cut through that static is with extreme prejudice of rock and with total reality of emotion. And I don't know how we do it all the time. I don't know why we do it all the time. It just seems to be the way that we are. And it's something that makes us a very misunderstood band because it constantly makes people question our intentions. But our intentions are good because we believe in the positive healing of music.
Speak to me. Just maybe we could lose ourselves this time. Get out the husband. Talk without me. He's trying to force it.
Like any band or any individual, you go through personal highs and personal lows, and you guys have
And personnel?
Yeah, and personnel, yeah. I mean, you guys have gone through some serious changes. How has it affected you? I mean, ultimately, to come to this point.
Well, I think we're surprised by how much it hasn't affected us.
Right.
I think we thought it was going to be much more kind of heavy duty, and it's actually fine. I mean, we're just kind of going along, playing our songs.
We're just not looking back. We're trying to be very progressive and go forward.
Don't look back in anger. I heard you say.
I heard you say.